Hey guys, Aldhani here. We are back for episode 7 of season 1 of Andor. Last episode concluded our last little episode with the heist, and now we're going to be living with the repercussions of that. As we saw at the end of the episode, word's already spread as the news alerts and broadcasts are just spouting about this attack, this assault on the Aldhani base is just kind of ringing out all the way out to Coruscant already, giving us our little shot of Luthen at the end kind of celebrating in their first real major win against the Empire. And I'm curious to see how this affects Andor in the long run, like the way that the whole thing came to a close. And yeah, man, the ISB is already involved. They're picking up the wind as well, and things are stirring. I can't wait to see how this kind of gathers a whole new storm and we enter this next batch of episodes and see what this little pod is about. With that said, guys, we're going to go ahead and hop in. So if you want to see the full-length reaction to this, you can check it out over on Patreon or become a member of the channel because you access as well. It is in watch-along format, so you just sync up your own footage with the time codes and my reaction to the entire episode. You also get the same thing for all the other shows we cover here on the channel. You also get to suggest and vote on what movies we react to each month. We got monthly Q&As, behind-the-scenes footage, try to make it worth your while since you are going out of way to support the channel. But of course, I know never can do that, and a simple way you can help us out is just by liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing these videos, because it really does go a long way with helping the channel grow here on YouTube. If you're tuning in for the first time, or maybe you've been a long-time lurker, if you like the episode, or if you enjoy the reaction, I hope you stick around. Hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate it. Maybe this will be the episode to get you to change your mind and hit that button. I'd really appreciate it. We're almost at 40K, and I'd love to have you. With that said, guys, let's go ahead and hop into episode 7. Here we go. Oh, he's got little action figures, looks like clone troopers.
Multiple fatalities reported.
What happened?
At the moment,
What happened?
the blockade order was issued.
They attacked the garrison. They'll regret it.
We know the real shock will be when they discover how ready and eager we are to respond, to be prepared. Be here this morning and know that the only question we need to answer is how tight to close our fist. This is why we plan. The following measures will be adopted empire-wide as of today. A tribute tax equal to 5 times the amount stolen from Aldhani will be levied on any sector harboring partisan activity. We will make it clear that no one steals from the empire.
Punishing the people for their actions, man.
I spoke with Emperor Palpatine last night.
Ooh.
And he's assured me that the ISB will be taking the lead going forward. No one in this room should have trouble accessing army or naval resources in future. The Emperor will be convening an emergency session of the Senate to propose a legislation package of bills and amendments that will free our hands in all matters of surveillance, search, and seizure. We will be invoking the public.
Wow.
We're treating what happened at Aldhani like a robbery.
What would you call it?
An announcement.
I like that.
Mon Mothma,
Without warning?
wipe the smile off your face. Perrin likes it. I'm just not sure he loves it. I think I might want the other one.
Great excuse to pop back in, man.
What do you mean?
The garrison, Aldhani.
Oh, is it true? Claire was just...
Gotta keep the performance on.
I explained to you the risk of new faces, but you seem to know better.
You realize what you've done?
I warned you when we started.
You told me we were building a network.
What were my words?
This is something else entirely.
Turning back will be impossible.
Damn.
We need the fear. We need them to overreact.
You can't be serious.
The Empire has been choking us so slowly we're starting not to notice. The time has come to force their hand.
People will suffer.
That's the plan. You're not angry at me. I'm just saying out loud what you already know. There will be no rules going forward. If you're not willing to risk your conscience, then surrender and be done with it.
Wow. Oh, dude, a temple guard mask.
Let me know how the meeting goes.
Damn, man.
Always at your service, Senator. Always at your service.
Definitely not a fan of how ugly things are getting, but like I like how he's like, I love, oh, the grayness of that.
Can't hide forever.
He wanted the Empire's hand to tighten around the galaxy because that puts more pressure in people to rise up if the pressure increases on them. Like, you know, he's making things harder for the average people because of what they did, but in the long run, it's just the hope and the hope that motivates them to join the cause to rise up a little bit more. Such a bold play. Man, I love seeing these sides of Coruscant, man. I really do. Oh, the little mark.
At ease, attendant.
Ma'am, sir.
I want a record of all missing avionics, comm, navigation, and targeting equipment.
For which star system?
All star systems. Is that a problem? I'll need this report kept confidential, and a copy sent exclusively to my office. Can I rely on you for that level of discretion?
Absolutely.
You think we'll actually even see Palpatine in this series at all? I mean, I'm not, like, needing it or anything like that. We know he's floating around. We're in Coruscant. He's holding a Senate, like a meeting of the Senate, so I don't know. I think it would be neat, but not necessary. Hey!
We have a loose end. Cassian Andor, who you know as Clem. You need to find him.
Find him?
We can't have him walking around with Luthen in his head.
Wow.
Kill him.
This is what revolution looks like, Val.
We'll send you what we have on him.
Fuck. Oh, that's so shitty. Was he back home already? Yes, he is.
I hear you.
Cassian,
Since when do we lock the door?
have you been?
Oh.
I want to tell you something that only 3 people in the galaxy know about.
Why would you want to do that?
Because I need your help. And I'm hoping I can trust you.
Like I said, we've both changed. I've done more than...
Her husband just going around macking up all the ladies.
I'm afraid you'd find my politics a bit strong for your taste.
I'm a polite, sometimes indecisive senator who spends the days fighting and failing to protect separatist do-gooders, battle Empire overreach, and irritation, as you so harshly put it.
I've made you angry.
No, you set me free. It's a lie. The Mon Mothma people think they know. It's a lie. It's a projection. Smile. Because as long as everyone thinks I'm an irritation, there's a good chance they'll miss what I'm really doing.
What are you really doing?
You're better off not knowing. Or perhaps you find my politics a bit strong. Perrin's on his way over. He knows none of this. He's not to be trusted. Smile.
There you are.
God, I love it.
To be continued.
I like that, man. I really did. So I'm assuming I'm assuming he's the one that she was talking about bringing in. So like, Luthen played his cards against her wishes, or at least without her knowing what he was actually doing. So that gave her the push to just bring him in. Luthen's gonna do what Luthen do, she gonna do what she do.
Put the entire town at risk and others Imperials on the street.
If Tim had kept his mouth shut.
If this, if that, if you, if me, if Tim.
We were doing a
User scam.
Playing the domino game.
Be careful, Cass.
You too.
Seeing the way that all these events have kind of shaped and changed where we've been. Oh, God. Just seeing him walk around out in the open like this just has my nerves, like, inflamed.
Don't move. Stay here.
Hey, guys! Calm down. You're only making things...
Oh.
"13 years, every time I walk down Rick's Road, I turn off before I get to the square. I take the long way around, so I don't have to think about Clem hanging there." Then yesterday, I heard about this attack at Aldhani. Have you heard about this?
What about it?
Well, Bede played me the news. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the garrison of Aldhani.
I heard that. I put on my best coat, and I walked across the square with a smile on my face. If there are heroes brave enough to take on a whole Imperial garrison, I'm brave enough to stick it out here. You have a different path, Cass, and I am not judging you. Everything you've been through, everything that was taken away from you before you even started. Take all the money you found and go and find some peace.
I won't have peace. I'll be worried about you all the time.
That's just love. I've never loved anything the way I love you. And I've never fretted on anything more, but this time. You can't stay, and I can't go.
Tucker, can I speak now?
No! Stop searching for your sister. It's a fantasy. There were no survivors on Canary. What happened there was not your responsibility. You were a child.
Wonder if any of that's true, what she said about what happened on Canary.
Supervisor Miro, do you mind having your integrity ventilated in public?
I'd be curious how many people at this table will think it careful that you found a way to access our sector data without ever filing a request.
Is that true, Dedra?
Damn. Got ratted out.
Yes. I used the Imperial Emergency Act in the wake of Aldhani to gather data across multiple sectors without official sanction, but that is the wrong question. I'd like to know if anyone here believes the rebellion plans its actions around the artificially constructed boundaries of our sectors. Do you really think the rebels care about the lines we draw on maps? Systems either change or die. Sir.
Thesis, please.
By accessing unfiltered sector crime reports, I can now prove a link between the theft of our most secret equipment and its distribution to rebel groups across the galaxy. I believe Supervisor Blevin is aware. I have a documented file ready to go. I believe his accusations here this morning have more to do with self-preservation than any sense of urgency.
Imagine if everyone in this room played as loose with the rules as you.
An excellent suggestion, Blevin. I'm wondering where we'd be right now if everyone here showed the same endeavor as Supervisor Miro. I'll have to think about that.
Hell yeah.
I'm reassigning the Morlana sector to Supervisor Miro. Ferrix is of great interest to her and has clearly become a distraction for you.
Oh!
Dedra, if you'd walk with me a moment.
Hell yeah.
Well played.
Thank you, sir.
Watch your back.
Yeah. Niamos.
The cave.
I'll be out in a minute.
Do it.
Was this Space Cancun? Man, I love the variety in like locales we've been getting in the show and species and just all these little background drops that make things just pop.
Just trying to figure out what's going on.
You a part of it?
Part of what?
I'll ask the questions. Pier 9, runners heading south.
I can wait for you here if you want. What?
You heard me.
Wait, no. I don't know anybody here. I'm a tourist.
Tourist?
Ah!
But I'm not running.
You got that right. That window is shut.
I'm just going to the store. It's right there.
You need to calm down, sir.
Damn. Multiple ones.
Please.
Which one's which? Are any of them who? Is this just a distraction?
Hang
A
on
feign?
to this one for me. I want to check the shelter.
No, he means what? Tell him! Tell him you mean what?
It's got to be a different one, I think, because I remember them saying that we won't be getting K2SO this season, so...
Charges: civil disruption, anti-imperial speech, fleeing the scene of anti-imperial activity, attempted damage to imperial property.
I'm sorry, there's something wrong.
I wouldn't. You've got enough trouble without a resisting judgment charge.
I'm just a tourist.
This used to be a 6-month sentence. 6 years.
What?
Just a tourist. Wait.
Wow. God. That sucks. That's what Luthen was talking about, man, though. Like, it's all kind of piggybacking off of the same event. Them tightening and increasing, doubling all their... Oh, wow. I love the bureaucracy of all that. Oh, damn. This was an interesting episode, man. Just kind of seeing the fallout of everything going on, both on the Imperial side and on the ground level side on a lot of these places. We got confirmation on his past, his father that died, his stepfather, foster father, however you want to call it, the guy that was with Marva whenever they found him on Canary, and that's where the name Clem came from. I think that's the first time I actually got his name, or maybe I just missed that. But yeah, I like, man, we got fracturing within this rebellion already, man, between Luthen's actions to kind of play his hand and force and ignite this fire in the galaxy to rise up by triggering the hand of the Empire to squeeze tighter on the people. It's like, because people will be complacent, you know, if you slow enough change, like these little trickling things over time, people don't even realize they're being controlled over the whole course of this certain span of time that the Empire has been rising to power. And a lot of it goes unchecked or unseen unless spurned. So like what did they get out of this? 2 different things, like an actual strike against the Empire, usable data against the Empire with these payroll things, shit ton of money. And on top of that, they showed that they can take a hit. They can dish it out a little bit. But at the same time, what that's going to do is make life hell even more for the everyman. And that's going to result in pain, in further oppression, and more so than what they've experienced up until this point with these little plays here. And that's torturing your peer base in order to try to get them to join you in a way. So it's like lighting a fire. It's like your buddy doesn't want to go with you to this event, right? So instead you're like, well, I just burned your home down, so you gotta go with me, is kind of what that kind of feels like to me. And that's kind of how Mon Mothma sees it as well, because like comes from it from a more benign point of view, where she's trying to help people And Luthen kind of took it a step a little bit more closely in the line of something we might see Saw Gerrera pull off. You know, these more extremist measures to get results. Just these little ways that we can see how the Empire is cracking down on people. Even to the point where Cassian, who, even though he and Marva did not see eye to eye about what's going on here as a result of what happened on Aldhani, which kind of motivated her to finally stand up and was like, I can't keep running. I got to do something to help. And she wants to get involved in the Empire, the fight against the Empire in whatever way she can, and kind of, you know, fight back. And whatever, we still don't know what happened on Kenari whenever she left, because she was like, they're all gone. What happened there is not your fault, but you're not going to find anything. She's like, Cassian, you just need to stop running or looking and just kind of, you know, move on. And I wonder if that's because he's just going to find out something painful in the end if he does. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe what happened there is not what she thinks, or maybe she's keeping something from him in general. I don't know. There's still a whole mystery about what happened there. I'm hoping we get some answers on. But like seeing, again, these little things, like the way the world is built out. We saw Cyril, you know, with his uncle's help, getting this job interview where he's still talking himself up, hype manning himself despite what had happened and all that. And he's right in a way, in a lot of ways. But like at the same time, it is exactly what his mom says, where he's like, I want to be seen. And then he's just like, all right, well, here's your desk. He's like, that's nice. Sit down. Working in this little bureaucratical building, we have these like cubicles en masse. That's just like the perfect representation of like the inner workings of the Empire, especially when you read through some of the novels and stuff like that, and how they talk about the inner workings of some of the bureaucratical systems that kind of tie all these different bigger organizations together like that, and then just putting them into work. I can't remember what it was. I think fuel purity, I think, was the sector that they put him in, or the section that he was placed. And I'm wondering where that whole thing's going to build to. Luthen wants Cassian dead. So we'll see how that goes. That's going to be interesting. Of course, we know he doesn't. But I wonder how that's going to play out. Bix, not happy with Cassian, especially with everything going on, what happened with Tim and what's happening now, the Empire encroaching. And I'm curious to see if we see her pop back up more frequently after this, and where that might... I don't know, man. I'm really what I like about this show right now is I really don't know where any of this shit's going or how it's going to play out. But I love what we're seeing. I love the feel and the vibe and the nastiness of this a little bit in a way, because like I get what Luthen's doing. At the same time, it sucks. It's his ends, or he's justifying the means to meet his end. You know, to free the people from the grip of the Empire, he's got to make some sacrifices on behalf of the many. And yeah, man, I'm very curious to see what Mon Mothma's got cooking up as well with this little scheme she's got with her childhood friend that she's trying to get assistance from and financial backing for her accounts on her homeworld. And just kind of seeing the intermingling of that scene was really brilliant. Like the way she's talking up, like, keep your smile up, and he's sucked at doing that. So like that's the whole thing that might be a little shaky there, but I love that whole development. And then just seeing like the contrast between the way she interacts and behaves with people compared to her husband and stuff like that, and then the dynamics, the front, the everything that people think they know about Mon Mothma and everything. So it's really intriguing, and I can't wait to see where that storyline goes, because I really liked the intrigue and the political aspects of it, and the way that everything is kind of its own little weird chess game. And then the ISB stuff is really interesting. Deirdre finally got a one-up in this whole situation and backing on everything that was going on, even though, you know, she played the actual guidelines because of what happened on Aldhani to justify her breaching the typical protocols, even though she wanted it kept secret because she wanted to prove it herself and bring it out to her in her own time. But little nappy guy I guess, got caught or ratted her out or something happened there. I don't know, but that information got out to, I can't remember his name, the guy in charge of the Ferrix system, who we've been seeing. He's like down there. He's the one that fired Cyril and all that whole thing. But how he's undermined her last roundabout as well. But she was able to light a fire in that ISB room and got some damn respect, especially out of the supervisor of that whole little pod. Yeah, it was fun, man. I really like this episode. I can understand people's frustration with the pacing of the show and stuff like that. It's not, aside from a couple episodes and scenes here, it's not high energy, but this is all kind of stuff that I really do like to see. The ground level stuff, like the stuff that, and I've talked about this a lot. I talked about it a lot in Bad Batch. I've talked a lot about up until this point in the previous 6 episodes. I love seeing the world surrounding the things we'd see, like the big old bang bang lightsaber swooshes and the war itself, the war as a whole. But there's these little things that happen in the background and the way it affects the people that live on the ground, the people that are doing the covert actions, like all these different elements that just go unseen. Not every battle of a war is the Battle of Thermopylae. Not every battle is Gettysburg. Not every battle is whatever. You know, not everything is that. There's these little moments. This is this guy getting a letter to this town because it needed to get there. There's these people who you ally yourself with that help you do the next mission. Like there's these little trickle down like beats between all these major events that without them, they wouldn't really happen. And that's kind of what we're seeing here. And the way we see the Empire respond to this virus attacking it, to use their own analogy of the ISB meeting when we were introduced to them in this season, you know, that they're a healthcare system to fight infection. Like, I like that. And they're responding. They are literally antibodies right now responding to this attack on their nervous system. And I like seeing the way this whole thing plays out. It feels, and I get the response that I've seen from some people that doesn't feel like Star Wars. I have to disagree. It feels very Star Wars to me because it feels like it naturally fits in with the narrative we've seen. It's just we've seen everything from a very surface level lens when looking at the grand scheme of things. Like if you're looking at Star Wars like as like a whole narrative, even Clone Wars at all, like to varying extent, I think Clone Wars can get a little closer into the dirt like this show has been at times. But like the events of Star Wars as we know it is like reading, and it's kind of the intended way that it was meant to be delivered by the Journal of the Wills and stuff like that. It was meant to be expounded upon as a story, as a recounting of these events, which is kind of about to get to my point, is like if you look at Star Wars and all the major events, like if you're in the films themselves, it reads very much so like the major things and beats that you would get if you were looking back into like a textbook about the war against the Empire. The events leading up to it, it's like these PowerPoint bullet point, you know, mapped out, date-driven things that would definitely be the ones that'd be where a lot of your focus goes. But where you miss out on all these other things is the stuff that happens behind the scenes, the smaller movements, the little tiny uprisings and chess moves that happen to make all of that sounds. Like it just seems like, I don't know, if that makes any sense. You know, it's the bigger battles, the major victories, the major losses, the major setbacks, the major strides forward that you would really focus on when you're like studying a certain era and stuff like that. But then if you wanted to really become an expert and dive in deeper, you'd be getting into the stuff like this, the little machinations in between that kind of made these things come to life and make them work and operate, like the things that fund the Empire, fund the rebellion, that inspire the pushes, pulls. I don't know, man. I love it. I'm just rambling at this point, but that said, I find all of that very intriguing and exciting, where I can understand the frustration with the show by not having a lot of high energy behind it all. But for me, I take it in, man. I think it builds that tension in a more narrative way and natural way, that it just kind of like you feel these things twisting and turning in the background, and that builds tension throughout the episodes for that release every 3 episodes. But yeah, I like the episode, man. I'm excited to see where this batch goes. I don't think any of those droids we saw at the end are specifically K2SO, but they are definitely that same model, as we can tell quite apparently. But I think that was more a tease. But we'll have to see. Who knows? Maybe it is. Maybe we'll get him by the end of the season. Maybe that was just like a throwaway distraction that we might not get him this season at all. But guys, what do you think of the episode? What are your thoughts on the whole situation? Do you agree with how Luthen approaches this situation? How he's betrayed Cassian for his own ends? Do you agree with his tactic to spurn the rebellion? Or do you lean a little bit more with Mon Mothma in this situation? I'm very curious to see how you guys feel about that. So I think that's where I'll leave it. So sound off the comments. Let me know your thoughts down below. We'll carry on the conversation after the video. Feel free to join us in our Discord. We can talk about it there as well. Links to that in the social description box below. Follow me in each and every one of those. Remember, if you want to see the full-length reaction, you can check it out over on Patreon, or become a member of the channel, gets you access as well. And speaking of, before you go, I want to shout out to channel legends: Benny Sheriff, Philly Vane, Yori Coruscant, Margaret Grace, Melito, Robert Angriano, Raven McCann, Status Alive, Jeffrey Hale, and M. Star Farrell. Thank you so much for your continued support. That's it for this video, guys, and I'll see you all in the next one. May the Force be with you always. Take care, everybody.